We have built what we think is the world's first functional candy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Curiosity Class. I am super excited to be joined by my good friend, Ben Hinman. He is the founder and CEO of Lick, and we're going to be getting into what that means and all that and more. So, Ben, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, Jeff.
Dude, all right. So I guess, where should we start? Why don't we start at the beginning? Why don't you give people a background on who you are and where you got to, or how you got to where you are now?
Sure. Well, man, I'm a recovering tech CEO. I built an event marketing technology called Splash, which in its heyday was one of the coolest pieces of tech out there. We started it in 2012 in New York City. And yeah, we made events look very cool online. And yeah, we built it to a pretty big business. It was a software business before we sold it last year to Cvent, Blackstone. And then ever since then, I have been ideating and creating a brand new brand that we call Lick, which is the world's first functional candy brand.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I have
it
so many
is.
questions. I want to start with, when you were building your first company, was that was that your first career, should we say? Like, did you have another career before that,
Oh,
or were
all
you
right. You
always
want
a
me to go
founder?
way back? Well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
probably the coolest business I ever started. I loved Splash, but the first business I ever started was a walking tour company in Washington, D.C. We gave free walking tours of the National Mall. They were historical and hysterical. And this was right about the time that TripAdvisor had just come out. And so we learned how to get reviews to kind of like hack the TripAdvisor algorithm. So before long, we were the number one thing to do in Washington, D.C., above the Lincoln Memorial. And we got, I don't know, I remember it was about 40 people per tour. And we did 2 tours a day. And it was all free. It was only tip based. But if you like what you heard, we'll appreciate your generosity. If you don't like what you hear, just write your complaints on the back of a $20 bill, hand that to me. I'll make sure it gets to my boss. And it worked. We ended up, man, every single day we would show up in the National Mall empty handed, and we left with, I don't know, about $135 on average. And that's what I did for 2 years before selling it. And it's actually still around. You should check it out. Tours by Foot are still free tours. And now they're all over the country. So that was the first business I did. That's how I kind of learned about entrepreneurship. And then, the next thing, man, the next thing was maybe second coolest business was a Summit Series. I linked up with some guys in Washington, D.C. I was doing those tours, and these other guys were like, hey, we should start a big conference for tech CEOs. And so that, man, it was right when tech was getting sexy. So it was 2008. This is before your time, Jeff, an old man here. And it was right when like all the cool media kids were coming out of New York, and all the Facebook guys were coming up. And so we got about 80 entrepreneurs to Mexico for the first Summit Series. And that was 20 years ago or so. And now they do, Summit Series that takes over cruise ships and mountains. And they're one of the biggest tech conferences or entrepreneurship creative conferences in the world. So I was one of the founding members of that. I did that for a little
Okay.
while. And then I got a job up at Thrillist in New York City, which at the time was like a very cool like email magazine. And that's where I learned how to throw events. And
Okay.
that led me to after throwing events for myself, I realized I needed my events to look very cool online. So I built a piece of technology that allowed events to look as cool online as they did in my brain. And that was Splash. That turned into Splash. And so I went from event planner to event marketing software guy, and did that for about a decade.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pardon my naivety here, but what does it mean to make an event look cool online?
Oh,
Like,
man.
what is?
So much of an event was about getting people there, right? And so you needed, at the time, it was really hard to create websites. Back in the day, nowadays you can use AI to make things look very cool. But
Hmm.
even so, our big innovation was to allow designers without a line of code to make it look pixel perfect on a website. And so we would create these beautiful websites for events. We call it splash pages. And splashthat.com was the URL. And before we realized before long that the cooler we allowed people to make these things look, the more design heavy, more movement, animation, cool hover states, whatever it might be, the more they shared it. And so we actually found a viral loop in there. And yeah, Splash became one of the cooler, at the time, one of the cooler event marketing softwares. People were sending invites, getting RSVPs, selling tickets. And we were doing that. We processed millions and millions of RSVPs through that system. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I'm so proud of it. I mean, we built the business up to like, God, at our peak, we had like 130 people. And like, it was a lot of humans. And we had the coolest office in New York. We had the top floor of the Woolworth building. And we designed it to look insane. And man, it was such a cool experience. The people we worked with, I just somehow hired just insane technologists and insane kind of marketing party scientists, and we had a whole squad, and we powered the events for Salesforce, Facebook, Amazon, Spotify, like insert cool brand here. They used our software. Yeah,
Dude,
man,
that's nuts.
it was nuts. It was nuts. I miss it. I love being CEO. I mean, what ended up happening was COVID. COVID made events go away. And then, after COVID, software was a really hard game. And
Mhm.
so, we did it for, gosh, as I said, I did it for about a decade, but those last couple years were tough. It was tough to make the business grow. It was, when events went away, we had to go online. And it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same kind of energy in the business. So, we ended up having a great outcome. We found a great buyer. They're doing a great job with it, but it kind of reached its end, its logical end. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you always felt, because like, just hearing about, like, your work history, you can tell you're fired up about everything you've done. Like, you're not like, "Oh, I did tours and was," like, you're like, "Dude, I did tours in Washington, DC." Like, there was, um
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
you always felt like work is an extension of you? Or, like, how do you
Yeah,
see
it's
work?
honestly, it's a little bit of like a blessing and a curse because, like, yeah, each of these businesses has been like a full body expression of who I am, which is amazing when you're in it and it's working. But when it's not
Mm,
working, it can feel really burdensome. It can feel like, when someone doesn't like it and you're doing user testing, it's hard to, it's hard to not take things personally when you have my kind of
sure.
personality. But yeah, I love thinking about business like art and like a full, expression of what I'm putting into the world. And each of these businesses has been, yeah, every part of me goes into it. By the way, it's another reason why a lot of people are good at multitasking, like doing two businesses at once or working across multiple projects. That's something I've learned about myself. I cannot do that. I go all in and I make it. Yeah, I'm glad you can tell in my voice. I make it a full part of me, and it's amazing. It feels really good when it's working, and it feels so terrible when it's not. You know.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. And then I imagine, like, I wanna talk about the sale a little bit, and, like, I can imagine if you have this part of you that's like, this is this full body extension of yourself, and then all of a sudden it's gone, like, on one hand, cool, you exited, that's amazing.
Yeah.
On the other hand, like, I'm sure there was, yeah, talk to me a little bit about that, like, what was that
Yes, I
like?
mean, the quick story is I stepped down as CEO during COVID because
Okay.
candidly, I just don't think I wasn't meant to be a virtual CEO. I'm really good at like, I design the office. I'm like in person, juicing people up. Being online was hard. It was taxing for me. So at some point I was like, you know what? There's definitely somebody better for the job. So smarter, more talented CEOs took that role. And I stepped back and yeah, man, it was incredibly painful to not honestly, the sale was a lot less painful than the years leading up to the sale. Um,
Mm,
we it just to watch a business that, yeah, was a big part of my life and a big part of who I am, um, or who I was, to not have the ability to impact it and to really want to like push it in different directions or help it grow or find new ways for it to become what it's supposed to become, but really not being able to. I was the chairman at the time. It was hell, man. It was those last couple of years were really challenging and disappointing. Yeah, the sale ultimately, actually, the sale, if I'm being real, was a relief. It was like the story of the business was kind of sad towards the very end. It was, as I mentioned, COVID made it really challenging to grow. There's like the software apocalypse that made it challenging to grow. We never shrunk. I got to be real. That was something we got to be really grateful for. We got it to a pretty darn high revenue number, and it never shrunk. And so that's something to be really proud of. And it was growing a little bit, but it wasn't growing fast enough to be like a real software return business. Anyway, we ended up selling it for a great return. And so that, at least for me, it did help kind of put a bow on what was at the very end a challenging last quarter of our
mhm.
business. Whereas the first 3 quarters were I couldn't have been more alive and more expressed and more just proud of the stuff we did. So, yeah, it's, I don't know that I'd recommend my style of doing business to people because it can be it's a really taxing way to go about business. I imagine there's much more straight lines than what I do. But yeah, when I get in it, I find a way to make it every part of me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that brings us to your current project. So tell us about this new venture.
Oh my
How did
gosh.
you think about like talk to me?
I'm so excited about it. I mean, so we haven't launched yet. So I don't know when this podcast will come out. We would have either just launched when this came out
Mhm.
or like is about to launch.
We're
Um,
gonna wait until it's
oh,
out.
okay. So then it's out. Then go check out
It's out.
enjoylick.com. It's
Okay.
pronounced le, but it's French because it's very fancy. We have built what we think is the world's first functional candy. So we asked the question, like, I love candy. I've loved candies my entire life. My mom used to bribe me to go to cultural events with candy, and I would collect it. Love candy. But at some point when I had kids, I realized candy isn't just like not good for you. It's like actively bad for you. Like the stuff that they put in candy in America are like terrible dyes, chemicals, high fructose corn syrup. It's just like poisoning yourself. And
Mhm.
so, we started asking the question like, hey, what would it look like to like flip that on its head? What would it look like to like not just make like quote unquote better for you candy, but actually candy that's like actually good for you. And so, yeah, we started. So our first product is Le Lick. It's an electrolyte lollipop. We packed a lollipop with a full dose of electrolytes, so about 400 milligrams of electrolytes, and then everything else in it is just organic cane sugar, organic honey. It's Himalayan pink salt. We did a prebiotic fiber in there, so it's only about 25 calories per lollipop, which is like less than half of most lollipops. Um, and yeah, it's meant to give you real energy. It doesn't use any sugar alcohols, which often can ferment in your gut and leave you bloated, or just like give you a sugar spike with no energy. Like it doesn't do any of that. It's real food that's meant to be processed by your body. And then it's a lollipop. It's a lollipop that hydrates you. Like it's supposed to remind you to like have fun and play. And one other thing I should mention is we put no dyes in it. So all of the lollipops are natural colors. It looks like honey. And the flavors are represented in the sticks. So the colors of the sticks are the different flavors. Um,
Okay.
which is so fun. It's meant to be something meant to remind you to keep on playing, and of course, electrolytes help you keep on playing. It keeps you hydrated, keeps your body being able to soak in water, and yeah, and so that's our ideas. This is our first product. Is this electrolyte lollipop? We hope to launch this well, and then launch more good functional candy for you.
Okay.
Right now we're learning all the ins and outs of building a candy brand and manufacturing candy. And oh my gosh, it's been one of the hardest experiences I've ever had, but it's been so rewarding working with atoms and not bits, if that makes sense.
Mm,
Yeah.
mhm. Okay, so a couple questions. The first one that just come to mind is what are the flavors? So what are the different colored sticks that we're gonna see?
Oh yeah. Okay. So again, go to enjoylelick.com. You'll see all of our
Okay.
flavors. Um, I'll read them out. We spent so okay. So I'm a little bit of a crazy person, and one of the decisions was, could we launch with at least 7 flavors? Which, like, most people who, like, launch, it's usually a 3-flavor thing. We wanted to get
Okay.
to 10 within the first couple months because, like, part of the narrative is different tastes, and I'll tell you this, it's a good thing we did because everybody's taste buds are different. Like, something we say internally in the company is like, "My purple is not your purple." Everybody's purple is different. I see a different purple than you, it turns out. And so, like, okay, so OG cherry is the first one that's meant for those people who like that old school medicinal cherry vibe, right? So
Yep.
OG cherry, pink lemonades, a little citrusy. Then we got
Okay.
watermelon, which is the fan favorite. Everyone wants a watermelon, but
For
man,
sure.
it has been hard to make watermelon with no chemicals, to make it a natural watermelon, the organic watermelon, but also taste like candy. That's been a challenge, but we think we nailed it. Wild berry, that's like a raspberry and strawberry mix. Chocolate milk is my kids' favorite. They love it. And I think that's going to be a winner. That thing slaps. Spicy mango. Most adults reach for the spicy mango first. And like, it's crazy. People who like spice, they like spice. And so we were inspired by like Mexican candy, and there's a lot of spicy candy in that. And so we went spicy mango. My personal favorite right now, orange coconut. It is weird, man. put in a little bit of orange and like a blood orange like flavor, and then like a coconut, like the sweetness of coconut milk. But it's dope. I love that one. Salted honey is like no flavors. It's just our base, but with like extra salt. So it kind of hits you with that like almost like if you got like a sore throat, you really want this one.
Okay.
And then we're gonna release with this launch. This one's been it's been like a striking like oil or something. It's Le Latte. Le Latte is a coffee flavored one that has 50
Ooh.
milligrams of caffeine. So this is our second function, right? We put in our electrolytes. This has electrolytes and caffeine. So this one's for adults, not for your kids, but it's good, man. The latte is gonna hit, I think. So those are our first couple, and our hope is to keep on going. I mean, we've partnered up with a small batch manufacturer in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and they're amazing at like ideating on and actually manufacturing real cool organic flavors. Yeah.
Dude, this is amazing. I'm stoked to try all those, except
Right?
for the cherry. I'm not a cherry fan, but every other flavor sounds epic.
So we've learned 60% of people not cherry fans.
I'd put
60%.
myself in the
Yeah,
60%. Yeah,
but 40% of people love it. They're cherry people. I mean, if you think
they
about
go
it,
hard with cherry.
Blow Pops and Tootsie Roll Pops, hardcore cherry flavors. Yeah. So we were like, we gotta do it. We gotta go. And we went OG cherry. And we called it that because we wanted
Yeah.
people to know this is that old cherry. I also find people who are not from America don't they're not as like when they taste that like medicine-y cherry, they're like, "Oh, I kinda like it." So it's either you like it or you don't, but I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Not a cherry guy. I get it. So, dude, some other things we found. So 25% of people, not honey people. I didn't even know you couldn't be a honey person. Did you know? Like, isn't that
Huh?
crazy? Yeah. There are a quarter of the people in the world, not honey people. They don't like honey. I was like, wow, I didn't even know it was a thing. 50% of people, not coconut people. Turns out people do not like coconut. Very,
I could get that. That makes
yeah,
sense to me. The
very
honey's surprising.
controversial. Honey is surprising. I was like, wow. And then again, watermelon. That's what people reach the most. Any box you put watermelon in, bestseller. People want it.
Yeah. Is the goal, like, are you gonna sell it in boxes and like you can get a mixture of flavors? It's you all in one flavor? How's
Yeah,
that
so
gonna work?
so just to test, at least this is we're eventually we really wanna make it pick and pack, so, like, you can build your own box, but what we did at first is we're launching, a creamy box, a tart
Okay.
box, and a juicy box, and there's 3 flavors in each, 10 of each flavor, so you gotta get 30 flavors, but you get sorry, 30 pops, but you get, 10 of each flavor.
Okay.
So, it's been I mean, honestly, just figuring out how to merchandise this to launch because I don't think this is where we're gonna land, but we really wanted to test out what would people resonate with, what would they go to, and yeah, again, that creamy box is getting about 25% of clicks, and the juicy box is getting, like, 75% of clicks. So,
Interesting.
yeah, it's been fascinating. Taste buds are wild. Everyone's taste buds, totally different.
Okay, so from the outside, at least looking in it, it sounds like this feels very different than your historical businesses, right? Like you've been always like in person with people doing stuff, and now to go to like a consumer, what was it? What CPG, consumer
Yeah,
packaged good?
yeah.
Like what? How did you think about that? Like that's a crazy, it's seemingly crazy transition, but do you see it as that, or is it more like a
Yeah, no, it's insanely different, and I keep on getting slapped in the face with how different it is. Yeah, CPG, I mean, I've always just had such a romantic obsession with CPG. It's just such a fun intersection, right? Like, it's like part like behavior change and psychology, right? It's part like design and branding, but it's also this like very intimate thing. Like when I was building software, it was like, does this fit your need? Did we solve your problem? Yes, no. Cool. Fix. This is like, put this thing in your mouth, right? Like, lick this thing and tell me your like opinion that is totally subjective, right? And if you like it, my hope is that you will somehow find a place for this in your pantry shelf, or in like the depths of your purse, right? Like, or in your car. Like you will take this and like give it to your child, right? It is such an intimate experience. And it's totally different in that way. So that's like one thing that like I've always just I don't know, just super respect to the people who are able to like build these parts of our lives. I think back to like my childhood and like cereal boxes and how like just they have just imprinted in my brain. I've always kind of had this romantic obsession with it. So yes, very different in the way it's approached, but also just in the way it gets built. I mean, I did a short stint at Shopify, and the thing that I was just so like impressed with at Shopify is their obsession with shipping. Like they just they really honor those who are able to ship products fast. And and people who are able to like push things out. And that's the deal with technology. You got to push something out.
Hmm.
What I'm finding with like real life products is there's a couple things. Number one, it's not always the best thing to push fast. Sometimes it makes more sense to go slow. And a big reason for that is, gosh, you're dealing with like longer iteration cycles. In technology, you get something out, it doesn't work, you patch that bug. You come up with a
Hmm.
new idea, you push that product quickly. Look, just we talked a bit about the sticks and the stick colors. I'll just be real. I have spent $11,000 in China on different sticks, buying them, coming up with the colors, and it took a month more now to ship them to Michigan. And I'll just be honest with you, the first sticks, they're not perfect. They're not perfect. I'm livid that these sticks are not perfect. But that's like and I have hundreds of thousands of them. So I got to launch with it, but like for me to update these sticks requires, like capital, time, energy. It's just like that. I mean, we're talking about, I don't know, 45-day iteration cycle. And so, there's a lot of reason to have purchased a smaller amount of sticks and I use that as just a small example. We're talking about like everything from the formulation to the packaging to the oh gosh, like what the nutrition, facts, like the littlest things. You change it once, so many dominoes fall. And that's just not the same as in technology. So yes, I would argue this is a full, 180 flip in terms of like what I'm doing. But man, I was so sick of not having an intimate experience with my customers. There's something so nice about this where I get to like, yeah, be part of their lives. And I don't know, man. I just can't tell you how exciting it is to like walk around handing out lollipops. It's just like, what else am I doing with my life? Like it's just so much better. Yeah.
And did you join up with people? Did you bring people together, or is there a team? Is it just
Yeah.
you? Like, who's the team?
Yeah. It's a great question. So, yes, the answer is yes. I had an interesting idea that, was not so dissimilar from how I built my other businesses, which was to find really talented people and to offer them a pretty significant amount of equity in the business and with no cliff. So, just for those who don't know, a cliff is basically like you have to be in a business a certain amount of time before you get any of the equity. And then you have a cliff for how much equity you get. Instead, I
Okay.
said, look, there's no cliff. So, every month that you're with us, you're earning equity. And if it doesn't work, we'll just stop and we'll cut you there and you'll get whatever amount you get. And hopefully that will feel good that you contributed X. We got Y from you and awesome. So as such, I've gone around and found like really, really talented marketers and advisors and field marketers and people who know how to make retail stuff. And I've just, yeah, offered them equity and said, like, look, earn it, stick around, and I'm going to be really real with you if it's not working out. And so far, yeah, we've had to break ties with people, and but a lot of people stuck around. And so I have uh, really talented marketers and operators right now who are putting in their sweat equity and helping push this business along. And hopefully one day there's money where we can actually pay them and get them full time. Everyone's kind of part time right now, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really excited about the team we built here. It's a really solid squad of like athletes and people who really share my affection and passion for saving the soul of candy. I mean, these are we probably should make that like an interview question. Like, do you agree candy is critical? If so, let's go. Because all these people share that vision and that mission. Yeah.
What do you think as a founder, as a CEO? What do you think as a person? Like, what do you think is one of your biggest strengths from a business perspective?
Right. Because like, what exactly would you say you do here, Ben? It's a great question.
No, no, not
I
not
mean,
in that way. I'm just
no, it's true. I often ask that. It's hard because I worked at a business. I worked at Shopify and like it was, it wasn't clear exactly always what I was doing in the rooms that I was in. But what I did find, and I found this at Shopify when I was pushing products, and I found it at Splash, and I find it here. I actually think momentum is my thing.
Hmm.
People lovingly say I have Benergy, which I take that as a compliment, but I bring it, man, and I don't stop. I think that momentum is really the only thing you have as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
Momentum is promise, momentum is speed, and taking one step and putting it in front of another. And so I think a lot of what my job is to keep track of that momentum, to help people understand where they're at, and are we creating enough momentum, um, to eliminate things that get in the way of momentum. It's really the only thing I do. And it ends up sometimes looking like project management. Sometimes it looks like creating visions. Sometimes it means communication. Sometimes it means hiring. It's finding a way to move things forward. I would say I'm world class at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I give another strength just from the outside perspective?
I love that. Please.
I think you're one of one, a category of your own of bringing people together. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily momentum driven, but like I 100% believe what you're saying with momentum, but I think you're an amazing community builder and like epicenter of movements. I think you're
Oh, man.
really, really world class at that.
That's really sweet. I mean, I guess for those listening, Jeff and I weekly study Torah together. We've been
Hmm.
doing it for 6 years.
Hmm.
I mean, God, that's been incredible. And we have, Jeff and I'm going to take this compliment because it really is true. We have gathered a group of, I don't know, on any given day, it's between 20 and 30 people who just show up on a call as we read an ancient text in a
Hmm.
very matter of fact way. Now, I would not describe it as a religious way. I would describe it as let's have fun. Let's almost read it like Shakespeare is how we do it.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, man, I really appreciate that. I have taken a lot of pride in both from a business standpoint, and yeah, it's certainly in our weekly talking Torahs of gathering humans together. And I
But
feel
dude,
really great.
even so,
Yeah.
outside of tour, like with I mean, it sounds like from everything you've done, like the DC tours, building Summit, building Splash That, now Lick. I'm gonna pronounce it
Nailed it.
right. Yes.
Ugh.
Okay. Ugh. Um, yeah, man, it seems like that's at like the center of everything. Like you just bring people together and you can bring a team on, which I feel like is one of the best strengths to have in business and in life. But
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, Jeff, what I'll share with you, and I definitely appreciate the compliment and the reflection, and I do agree. I'm really fun. I'm a great recruiter. I get you hyped. Um, there's a shadow to it that I think if other people are thinking about themselves in business, something I'll just share, which is that often I've made decisions for the team and to meet the needs of what I'll describe as the stakeholders. Um, Often and sometimes over the customers or the health of the business. And yeah, as somebody who's like, I would describe myself as an empath, someone who really cares deeply about those around me. I often let that get in the way of leadership. It's something I'm working on. Is like, when am I actually making the right call for the business, for the customers, for the investors, versus making sure the team is happy and feels taken care of. Now, again, it can be really helpful to make sure you got great people and they feel taken care of. It's an
mhm,
important thing. It's also something I work with, is to not over rotate on gathering the right people almost for the sake of gathering the right people. Like right now, I have
mm,
like some of the best advisors for the company in the world. Like these guys are amazing. But I imagine a lot of people would say, "Hey man, you don't need to spend your time on that. You need to spend your time on getting customers. You need to spend your time on
mm,
getting investors or getting the product out there." And so yeah, it's definitely something I keep an eye on, is like how focused I am on people gathering versus
got you,
yeah, but it's I appreciate I'd rather be surrounded by great people than not, so I appreciate the reflection for sure.
for sure. So, do you have how do you hold yourself accountable with that kind of stuff? Like, do you have people that do, or is it just like a self reflection?
Wow. Man, what an important question. Man, I've been getting this is gonna sound I mean, gosh, I hope she's listening to this. I've learned something pretty important in my life, which is that my wife is actually my best advisor, and she just the other day I got really mad at her because she like spoke truth to me. She always like she'll just never sugarcoat stuff for me, man. And it's really almost always her who just shines a bright light on when I'm doing the wrong thing, really in any category, but certainly when it comes to people pleasing. She's very
Mhm.
well aware of kind of my codependency, if you will, on my staff and my teammates. And so she'll shine a light and say, "Hey, is this the right thing for the business? Is this the right thing for XYZ person?" Um, she's really, really sharp in that way. I would say I'm 42 now, and I would say I learned that lesson around the age of 38 that Julie's more often than not right, and I just kinda need to listen.
Yeah.
So that's I know. Tough answer, man, but that's what's going on in my life, yeah,
Dude, that's amazing to have that kind of person in your corner with you, like,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. She's awesome, man. It's
That's
been really
really
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
What lessons have you taken from your personal life and incorporate them into business or taken from business and incorporate them into your personal life?
Whoa. Huh.
Or do you even think about it like that? Like, do you
Yeah.
separate personal to business or vice versa?
No, I wish I did. I wish I had that kind of brain. I don't know how to do it different. Well, something I'll share. I went through a pretty dark night of the soul when I was in between businesses, kind of for this exact reason. I just don't really know how to not live a personal life that is also associated with my business. When I was
Mhm.
doing event software or throwing events, I was throwing those events for me and having a blast doing it. And like being
Mhm.
those events were all I thought about every single day. Nowadays, all I really work on is like finding a way to give away lollipops and get people to try them and get taste tests. And it's just kind of all day, every day. I mean, even to the point I have my kids. I got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I took my 8-year-old to the factory the other day. I took my 5-year-old to like a trade show where she's like pushing lollipops. So I don't know. I'm trying to use this as a hack. It's so fun to like live and do work, like make your life work. It's a
Mhm.
really fun thing. So I love that part of me. And even, gosh, man, the thing that me and my wife do that we love more than anything, we chase Skrillex around the world. Skrillex is our favorite DJ musician. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, similarly, gotta bring lollipops wherever we go. But yeah, it's kind of I don't think I can't say that I separate these two things. The personal and the professional. For better or for
Yeah.
worse, Jeff. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
All right, so you have 2 kids, you said 8-year-old and 5-year-old. What is some advice you'd give to a new parent? What have you learned about life from having kids? Small question.
Wow. Small question. Okay, a couple things here. Man, one thing I'm learning recently, because I got 2 kids, is that solo time is way more important than I thought. That's something
Mm,
I wish someone had told me. Another one is that you just should almost never have your phone on you when you have a kid. It's just, especially
mm.
nowadays, you gotta get your phone out of your hand. That's something I worked on and I'm psyched about moving through. Um, yeah, I'd say I read this somewhere, I'm forgetting where, but just I've really focused on the first 3 minutes of the day and the last 3 minutes of the day with the kids. That's been important, just, like, waking up, being real present for at least the first 3, and then making sure right before bed, really super present. And I know it's small, but that has been really helpful. Similarly, car time, gotta recommend, like, spending like, use the radio, but that you got them in a seatbelt. You might as well, like, dig in with kids in the car. That's, like, one of the best times. Let's see what else I got for you here. I mean, man, it's been a wild trip because I never really wanted to be a dad. It wasn't something I was, like, psyched on. My wife really wanted it. I was never excited about being a father. And
Really?
oh, yeah, even up until they were, like, 5, honestly. I'm only recently, like, turning on this. It's only now getting interesting and good for me. I've always kind of been,
Wow.
bored by it, just not interested. But now it's pretty darn fun, and they're teaching me a lot of lessons. It's a sharp reflection, and,
I'm sure.
yeah,
Dude, that's
yeah.
crazy. I feel like you're like you give like and this is the biggest compliment ever, like very much dad energy.
Thank you. And yeah, no, I always thought I'd be okay at a dad, but I never wanted it, man. It's so hard and boring. like 5 years, just so obnoxious. There's these monkeys that yell at you all the time. But now it's getting cool. I mean, we're having a fun time. We're learning a lot together.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. You're involving them in the business and taking them the stuff, and
Yeah,
what
dude.
a great way to balance everything.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I'm having a fun time with them. Yeah.
Um, as we start to wrap up here, I wanted to ask you what do you take as input? So you're a very high energy person. You're like all you said you're an empath. Like you're always feeling and like giving. I know you said Skrillex is a big part of you and your wife's life, but like, yeah, what kind of stuff do you allow in? Like, what's your input? Either podcasts, books,
Yeah,
people you
yeah.
listen to.
I mean, what I think I'd share that might be more useful to people like me. So I'm not sure if I was ever like diagnosed with dyslexia or if it's just like hardcore ADD. But reading has always been quite elusive for me. I've always wanted to be a reader. I can read a little bit, but I take in all my content audio like through audio.
Hmm.
And I crank podcasts for sure. But honestly, the best way I've learned how to learn has been to create regularly scheduled book clubs and meetings with people I think are smart. And I just tap into what they're reading and what they're saying. And I'm able to like my brain really turns on when that happens. So, what we were discussing earlier, talking Torah is one way I like to do it, like listen
Hmm.
to people talk there. But I have, 3 or 4 other groups of people that I have very regularly meetings with that is all about learning. And so that's been just kind of a great forcing function, but also just, I've just learned how to like hack my own brain in that way. Yeah.
Did you start those other four?
3 out of the 4. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. Book clubs. Hey, I didn't make up book clubs here, Jeff. That's a thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but it's like you're what's that thing? If information were the answer, everyone would be millionaires with six packs, right? Like everyone knows that, but you were like, cool, I'm gonna go do it.
truth. It's
Really,
great.
really cool.
Yeah,
Really cool.
yeah.
The other question I have for you is what's something you've changed your mind about recently?
Oh man. I mean, honestly, kids. Some. I think kids can be great. It's just been like as I mentioned, I did not like having kids. And I thought it was also like if anyone asked me like, "Hey, should I have kids?" or like, "What's it like?" I was like, "Oh my god, no, stay away."
Was
I
it kids or was it babies? Like, are you not a fan of
Babies are
babies?
the worst. Sorry to all the baby lovers out there. I feel like I'm starting a candy brand and I'm just like anti-baby. I feel like this is not a good look, Jeff. We're gonna have to edit this out. No, it was always really hard for me to like stay present and yeah, find reward in the baby process and toddler process, candidly.
Hmm.
Um, but I've come around to the fact that like I will become my best self through the learning through the eyes of my kids, and that's can be really
Hmm.
fun. And it also has been just like a really important project for me and my wife to get good at, and to learn from her and like how she handles uh, their energy, and what I can learn from that has been critical. So I would say I am pro kid now, Jeff. Says the guy who's starting a candy brand. I'm pro children.
Dude, all I could think about was when you were saying you brought your daughter to the trade show of like, talk about a better salesperson.
Oh
Like
yeah,
this
she
cute little
crushed.
girl going up, like, do you want a lollipop? Like, who would say no?
Who's gonna say no to a kid offering them an electrolyte lollipop, Jeff? I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't wanna meet that person, you
zero
know?
people.
Yeah,
Zero people. 0% of people.
totally.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for doing this, man. I appreciate you. You're a beast. Where can people go to find more? Where can they order lollipops from?
These lollipops, Jeff, you can go to enjoylelick.com or check us
Okay.
out on Instagram at enjoylelick. It's L-E, but it's pronounced with a And yeah, man, and if you have any flavor recommendations, requests, or if you want more or less salt, send those requests my way.
Amazing. And yeah, where's the best place to reach out to you if they do have
Yeah,
those
I'll be on
feedback?
Instagram, Benny.events, Benny D-O-T events. So you can hit me
All
up on
right.
Instagram for sure.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again, man. I appreciate you. You're the best.
Great to see you, Jeff. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.